Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Adolf, and welcome. The big question with respect to AI in 2026 is really going to be, when is this going to pay off? A wonderful article in The Economist back in May really had executives saying, I don't know why this is taking so long. I've spent the money on this. It's not happening. Perhaps the answer to that question can come from the expression that AI is the new electricity. Now, that may be a bit of a hyperbole, but it is actually a great metaphor for understanding the challenges with the commercialization of AI. Because the commercialization of electricity did not immediately meet its economic expectations. And there's an opportunity to learn from history and perhaps help us better understand the needs and where the potential economic benefits from the commercialization of AI will take place. So let's take our Wayback Machine to the 1880s and look at the factory of the 1880s. In the 1880s, factories were steam powered. Typically, they had a centralized steam engine, and then power was distributed through the line shaft. And you can see in this image here that large spinning shaft above all of the work systems. So this was a great way of distributing power from the steam engine, but there were also substantial losses in the range of about 25 to 50%. There was also the line shaft imposed a physical constraint on the organization of the factory. The factory was laid out to optimize the mechanical distribution of power through the line shaft rather than the optimal work patterns. So when electricity came out, the immediate response was to use the electric motor as more or less a drop-in replacement for the steam engine. So you had power, you had a more efficient and more reliable motor to drive the factory, and it lowered the operating costs. We were able to get rid of, for example, stokers and get rid of the complexity of the steam engine, but power was still mechanically distributed. So it was cleaner, more reliable, but productivity barely moved. Then, in the mid-1890s, small electric motors became available. And the big change here is that the factory could free itself of the line shaft. Rather than power being mechanically distributed, power could now be electrically distributed. What this enabled the factory to do now was start to rearrange the workstations along the flow of materials and products and not have to be clustered or constrained by the line shaft. This improved safety, noise, lighting, and working conditions. In fact, studies suggest that there was a 30% productivity gain. Henry Ford suggested it doubled the efficiency of the factory. So what are we learning here? Well, we could take away from this that the transformative productivity gains were made when we took electricity as more than just a cleaner, more reliable substitute for the steam engine. We were able to free the factory of the constraints of the line shaft. We got substantial gains by rethinking our workflows. And so we can now use the line shaft and go back to electricity, or AI being the new electricity, by comparing it back to that line shaft. What is the line shaft for us in our enterprise? Well, it's the outdated technology, the legacy infrastructure, the fragmented and siloed data, the rigid static workflows. These are the equivalent of that line shaft. And so now we have to start rethinking, how do we transform our way of work to take advantage of this new electricity that we call AI? So today we're seeing AI is in a major way as more or less a drop-in replacement for business processes. We are trying to optimize existing processes. We're using it to summarize our phone calls, perhaps write code more efficiently. These are great, but really they're not the transformative gains that we need to justify the substantial investments that we are making in AI. So what we really have to do is start rethinking how workflows and humans and AI work together. What will happen to our customer journeys, our value streams, our product development, our supply chains when they can learn, when they can take advantage of what AI is bringing to it? And what I thought would be interesting here is to simply ask our AI. Everyone's pitching AI as a productivity tool, but is AI really the new electricity? What is the transformative power? And why are so many asking the questions, I don't know why it's taking so long. We spent the money, it's just not happening.
Absolutely, and that's a really insightful question. The transformative power of AI really lies in how it helps us rethink and redesign the way we work. Just like electricity wasn't just about making old factories run a bit better, but about completely rethinking factory layouts, AI isn't just a productivity tool. It's a learning tool. It's something that can transform the entire way your organization adapts and evolves. And the reason some people are asking, why is it taking so long? Is because they're still in that early phase of just trying to drop AI in like a replacement part. The real transformation comes when you let AI reshape how you learn and work.
When you say AI is more than a productivity tool, that it's a learning tool, and we have to transform our way of working, what are some concrete examples that you can provide of that in comparison to how we're using AI today?
Absolutely. Let's put that into some concrete terms. When I say AI is a learning tool, think about it like this. Today, we often use AI to speed up tasks, like automating reports or answering customer questions faster. That's useful, but it's just scratching the surface. A concrete example of AI as a learning tool might be using it to analyze patterns across your entire product development process. Instead of just automating each step, the AI can help you see where you can improve, where feedback loops are too slow, or where your teams can collaborate more effectively. Another example could be in customer journeys. AI can learn from customer interactions over time, helping you continuously adapt your services instead of just speeding up existing processes. So in comparison to how we use AI today, mostly for automation, the real transformation is in using AI to help the whole organization learn and evolve.
So, if you were to challenge my argument about AI being a new electricity and the transformative power of AI within an enterprise, and that AI's value comes from rethinking workflows and learning systems rather than productivity automation, what would you say? How would you challenge that argument?
Absolutely. Let me put on my critique hat for a moment. If I were to challenge that argument, I'd say that while it's inspiring to think of AI as transformative like electricity, we have to remember that not every organization is ready to rethink workflows overnight. In the short term, a lot of companies genuinely do need the productivity gains just to stay competitive. They might not have the data infrastructure or the cultural readiness to jump straight into using AI as a learning engine. So the challenge would be that it's not an all or nothing proposition. Sometimes starting with productivity automation is a necessary step before you can evolve into that more transformative learning approach. In other words, the critique would be that while AI's ultimate power is in learning, we have to be mindful that many enterprises need to walk before they can run.
So, artificial intelligence, from a metaphoric point of view, is the new electricity. There's nothing wrong with the productivity gains we see, but it is to be able to justify the massive investments that we are making in AI. It's not going to be just about drop-in replacements in our value chain, in our customer journeys. It is really going to be how can we tap the unique capabilities of AI to do the things that we could not do before. I'm Steve Adolph, and thank you for listening.